Towards the very end of this Toastmaster session, we do have a very educational session being coming up. And for this educational session, the topic is rather very simple. A leader as a coach. We all need a coach, and we do need a lot of leaders in our life. Einstein had a quote once. Einstein's quote was, we can't solve the problems, we can't solve existing problems using the same thinking we used to create them. So on those lines, a leader, to me, would be someone who can basically redefine the way we do our work. Because he's an outside source thinking upon an internal problem. And to give us a brief description and a more detailed overview on this topic, we have Toastmaster Aniket, who is talking about the topic, the leader as a coach. Toastmaster Aniket, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Morning started. Good evening. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Now, as the TMOD introduced the topic, the leader as a coach. A lot of times we will find that we have coaches in our life, we have leaders in our life. A lot of times the leaders are performing the role of a coach. A lot of times, coaches are performing the role of a leader. Where do you find coaches? You find coach sports. Any other arena where we have found coaches?
Education. Public
Public
speaking.
speaking, you have coaches.
Education.
Education, you have coaches.
Work.
Railways, you have coaches. Evening, so this leader is not that coach. Alright, so the coaches are actually making you to step up your game. However, in a lot of situations you will find that they are being really harsh on the person that they are coaching. So how do you really go about coaching in the right way? So to next one. You can find this person yelling at the kid, trying to motivate him. You can do it! I've seen you doing it, what are you doing now? So this is a very common example of a coach yelling at a player during a match or even during practice. So what this makes the player do is go in a negative frame of mindset. If you are yelling at me, I'm not going to listen to you. His self-pride is getting hurt when you are getting yelled at. So next. This is another coach trying really hard for the student to understand something that she's having a problem with. A lot of times you will find that when you are trying to teach someone, because we play different roles in our lives. When I speak to my little daughter, 3.5 years old, I am her coach. Sometimes she is my coach. When I'm speaking to my sister, she calls me up a lot of times asking for help in simple things. Maybe it could be related to writing an email or preparing for an interview. Or you could be having a mentee in your Toastmasters club and you are trying to help him improve his communication skills to the next level. So how do you coach them? How do you go about this? So this session is all about that. Now let's start with a story. Now there was a daughter who was trying to throw the trash from her home, but she was having a problem with that. So her father comes in and says, hey, what are you doing? Need some help? Please do it quickly. I'm waiting for you. But what he could not see, the daughter was as tall as the trash can. So how would she be able to do it now? So what he did next is he explained the best way to do it. Why don't you roll down the trash can this way, but make sure it is tied up on the top first, then you roll it down, then you pull it up, and there you go, you have a trash can. So in these simple steps, the father was able to explain the concept to his daughter. That means you need to find the problem that you're solving. When you are coaching someone, be it in Toastmasters, be it in real life, you need to understand what problem they are facing. If someone is facing a problem with time management, maybe give him the time we're going for the next 5 meetings. If someone is facing a problem or an issue in a specific arena, you need to focus on that specific aspect and then target on that. Let's go to the next slide. So there are some universal principles on the motivation as a coach. Fundamentals being, they need to know what they're supposed to do. They need to know why they're supposed to do it and how they're supposed to do it. Because if you tell someone that when you are speaking to an audience, don't show them your back. But why? What impact does it have on the audience? How does it impact your speech? That why, the how should be answered. When you're telling someone to reduce the arms in their speech, you also need to explain why they are doing it or what impact it will have in their other speeches. Because if you look at a complete flawless speech or a speech which is filled with these pillars, the impact that you will carry, the message that you will carry differs. Let's go to the next one. There are a few fundamentals of coaching. Let's say there was a basketball or a running coach. Now that running coach should have a specific objective in his mind. Let's say the person or the sports person is training. Her current timing is 4 minutes and 50 seconds for a 1 mile run. Now his target should be, I need to reduce, let's say 50 seconds from her run so that she can go to the next level. But can she do it? Is it feasible? Is it a valid target? All of these things you need to think before you apply that as a challenge to the sports person. So what he does is he goes through the recordings of her previous performances and he finds out that whenever there is a turn, that's when she is losing her energy. So he tells her how to avoid wasting energy in those turns, and then they shave off 10 seconds. Next he finds that her breathing patterns are also causing her to get tired a little early, and she could boost if she monitors that. So next thing they do is they just focus on the exercises that control breathing. With that they are able to shave off 10 more seconds. So that way they are able to reduce the time and then keep practicing, make sure that you are getting feedback. Is this working or is she tiring out soon? Am I exhausting her by training her too much or straining her too much? So using all of these techniques, the coach will be able to have the best performance out of the athlete. So he needs to identify what she is supposed to do to reduce the time overall. Why they are supposed to do it? So that they can up their performance to the next level. Last time she was a silver medalist. Next time we should plan at least for the bronze and then go for the gold. How they are supposed to do it? The how comes in with the specific advice that the coach will give you. Let's say in a Toastmaster speech, you are preparing for the international speech contest, and your coach has seen the previous recordings of these speeches, and your coach identifies that usually when you are about to close your speech, you usually tend to reduce on your energy and the crowd loses interest. So what the coach will do is repeat the same 5 speeches again, probably to me, in a private room, and just monitor the closure of the speech and focus on just that aspect. Give a conscious thought on improving on that aspect. When this exercise is done, go to a different club, give a same speech and monitor yourself. Probably take your coach with you and see how you're doing on the ending of your speech. So that way, not only are you working on the feedback, you are also monitoring the progress that is being made as part of the feedback process. The next one is, what resources do they have? Now this point was not there in the original PPT. I've added it because I feel that when you tell someone to improve on something, you also need to give them some resources to work on with. Because you as a coach have the responsibility of the success of the next person. Which means if you are telling them to improve upon grammar, you need to tell them that probably use the Renan Martin, try some of these grammatical challenges, play these games. Whenever you turn anything into a game, your brain will start working on it immediately. So that's the best way to engross your mentee or the person you're coaching by putting assignments into a game. Put it into a challenge. That I give you a challenge to give an inspirational speech in the next 3 weeks, and then let's talk about it. There's another story which is on the same lines. Once a Toastmaster who was preparing for an international speech contest came to a coach who was an established Toastmaster, who participated in a lot of conferences and contests before. And he said, "Can you help me to prepare for my international speech contest, considering the value it carries and the experience I'm going to have out of this? And I need you to help me reducing the word called seriously, which I keep using each and every time I utter a sentence." And the coach said, "Okay, meet me next week." Now the Toastmaster was completely baffled. Why am I not given any advice to work upon? He just called me to say, "Okay, meet me next week." What am I supposed to do in 1 week? Now next week when he met the coach said, "Okay, use these guidelines and this will be able to help you to reduce the use of the word seriously." And then the Toastmaster asked him, "So why didn't you give me this advice last week?" The coach said, "Because I was using the same word myself. Last 1 week, I worked upon to fix it up myself, and now when I give this advice to you, it is authentic. And that's where you need to speak with your actions. You need to lead by an example." Now, because the coach has seen these things working in the last 1 week, he was able to tell the Toastmaster in a confident way that this is going to help you to solve this problem. Let's go to the next one. One more? Yeah. So what is the responsibility of a coach? He sets high but achievable expectations. If someone is at a CC1 on 1st of March, you can't set a deadline of 31st of March to complete your CC10. That is not possible. I mean, it is possible, but on a chance of 1 to 100, maybe it will fall between 1 and 5. Guide the team members. Now, guidance need not be on WhatsApp. And guidance need not be on a phone call. Guidance should be face to face, because you are communicating with all of your senses. He can listen to your voice, he can read your body language, he can understand how you are showing him. Let's say that you are trying to reduce the word exactly. What kind of exercises we can have to shorten this word? Because some goals are achievable in a short amount of time. Some goals need overall more amount of time in practice to get rid of. So if it's a short goal, you can have some exercises that can plan to take care of it. But if it's a long-term goal, you really need to work upon it. Let's say the goal is to write better speeches. Can you improve upon that in 1 hour? No. We need practice for that. And that's where resources come into picture. When writing a good speech, what do you read upon? How do you select a speech topic? Because speech topics are all around us. I can talk about this projector. I can talk about this door. I can talk about Buddha. So speech topics are all around us. But writing that good speech takes the talent. Writing those good words. Now a lot of times, we Toastmasters rely upon our ability to come up and talk about any topic for at least 7 minutes. That's a good thing. However, when you write a speech and when you look at it the second time, you will be able to flourish that speech with some good words. Because there are some words which are not necessary in that speech. They can be replaced with even more effective words. There are certain techniques in body language which you can plan in advance. Practice them. Practice that, just those 3 sentences with that body language maybe 10 times. So it is engrossed at the back of your mind, and you can do it even if at 1 a.m. if your roommate wakes you up. Now, you need to also give advice. Now, advice comes in different shapes and sizes. You may call your friend, hey, I'm really having a problem with my relationship. Can you give me some advice? He can say, bro, just take a chill pill. It will be fine. Or if he is an experienced person, a mature person with some knowledge, he will be able to give you some good advice. So you also need to give a good advice to your mentees and provide feedback. Now feedback is the most important thing. That's why we have the general evaluation session, don't we? We love feedback. Give me feedback about my speech, give me feedback about my grammar, give me feedback about my timing. So feedback is extremely important, but giving feedback is also an art. You need to speak with someone, not to someone. You don't need to speak at someone. The main difference being, when you speak with someone, it's a bidirectional channel. When you speak to someone, it's a one-way channel. I need to speak to him. So that's another way to give feedback.
You need to encourage the team members using different techniques.
Encouragement is, let's say that a member, let's say you joined a Toastmasters club and you had another person with you who also joined at the same time. Now 6 months later, you see that person completing his projects, participating in competition, getting some fame. You are automatically inspired by him. If he can do it, then I can. So that way, if you have good success from your club, make sure that you can emphasize that during your coaching sessions. That way, your members can learn from an achievement that's very close to them. If you tell them that there is a club in Brazil and there something happened, maybe they will remember it, but they will not be inspired by it. So there are 5 steps to effective coaching. You need to compare performance with expectations. Expectations is not to have any grammatical mistakes in your speech. Expectation is to have a good eye contact with the audience. But what is the current level of performance? Maybe the person utters 5 sentences, looks down. 5 sentences, looks down. So you need to reduce the zigzag pattern. So that is